Hello everyone, welcome to Samiksha Academy. Let's read today's newspaper. As you all know, day before yesterday, a tragic incident happened in Prayagraj during this Mahakumbh Mela event. So regarding this, as a reaction to that, day after Mahakumbh stampede, VIP passes cancelled, no vehicle zone, curbs and routes. So with respect to crowd management, try to understand this in the context of disaster management, right? What steps needs to be taken? So the 45-day event with thousands of crores spent, right? So we didn't expect this kind of thing will happen. Quite unfortunate. At least now for the rest of the event to happen in a successful manner, we should pray and we should not allow any kind of untoward incident to happen. So in that context, I think you should have a look at it. Next, the most important one, see here. India braces for AI challenge. Government says own foundational model in 4 to 8 months. As you all know, the DeepSeek R1 of the Chinese AI tool, right? The way it shook the Western countries, especially the Western AI models with its low cost model, right? Now, as the race began with respect to artificial intelligence, who will have major control? Now, what India needs to do? There is a lot of criticism India is facing right now, as we are just depending on foreign models. We are just only utilizing it. We couldn't able to develop, though we have a substantiative amount of software capital. So in this context, the minister has to say that we will be having our own foundational model within 4 to 8 months. So that's what we have to tap this issue. Again, see this again important. Poison remark row, Kejriwal slams chief election commissioner. So with respect to this, is it really an issue? Right? We have to wait and see. There is a detailed information available. Just wait for a time being. We will discuss that. There is a detailed article regarding this. See this one. This is important. See here. See this one. As Indian Air Force officer Shubhanshu Shukla, he will be the second Indian, right, going to outer space. The first one, as you all know, Rakesh Sharma. Okay, so in this context, see here his point: journey of 1.4 billion people. He is an Indian Air Force officer. Right now, ISRO is in collaboration with NASA. Right, as you all know, we are planning for our own Gaganyaan mission to send our people to outer space. So in that context, initially now he will be going to outer space, but this time with the help of NASA. So that's what he mentioned. See here. So NASA collaborated with this Axiom 4. It's a private agency. NASA collaborated with that. Now this Axiom 4 mission, it will be taking 4 astronauts to outer space. 3 of them are outside US, 1 from US. These 4 people will be going to International Space Station. Okay. So why it is important for us? Point number 1, he will be the second Indian visiting outer space. Next one, it will be giving us lot of like what you call ground realities, handheld experience, so that we will be using this for our upcoming Gaganyaan mission, right? To take our Indians to outer space, as we are also planning for our own Bharati Antariksha station. So in that context, it will be important. As you all know, with respect to Rakesh Sharma, that time we collaborated with Soviet Union. He represent like with the help of Soviet Union, he visited outer space. But right now, Shubhanshu Shukla will be visiting the International Space Station in collaboration with NASA. This is what we can understand from that. That's what I highlighted here. Next, here not much information. Again, see this one. Here the key point is Delhi Model 2.0, how AAP government has prioritized subsidies over infrastructure. Here the most important thing here, what you need to understand is, you have to observe the trends of revenue expenditure and capital expenditure. As you all know, capital expenditure, if it is seeing an increasing trend, it will give boost to infrastructure. Again, within capital expenditure, if you have, whenever you come across this word called as capital outlay, in simple terms, what is capital outlay? Capital outlay means fresh investment. Right. If capital outlay is increasing, that means every year you're coming up with fresh investment for infrastructure or to boost capital assets. Right. Laying down new roads, right, new hospitals, right, new school buildings. That is capital outlay. Overall capital expenditure for the maintenance of the capital asset. Understood. So how much we are separating? So revenue expenditure means mostly we will be giving for the salaries and the developmental expenditure. Suppose for example subsidies. Understood that? So the trend with respect to Delhi economy under AAP, if you see in the recent past, it is prioritizing more of subsidies, cash transfers especially over infrastructure. So this is the crux we can get from this data, from this trend. Okay. Those who wants to further analyze, they can take the screenshot, but or else I feel just getting the broad idea is sufficient to analyze the trend. Next, here not much. Again, see here, see this one. Yamuna board said ammonia every year, no easy solutions. So the reason for the poison, what they mentioned here is the heavy presence of ammonia. But now you should ask a fundamental question. What's the reason for this heavy presence of ammonia? Day before yesterday, we have seen the Chief Minister of Haryana, he visited Yamuna river and he even drank a sip of water just to tell that we are not poisoning the river. But still, why Delhi Chief Minister Atishi or AAP party president Arvind Kejriwal, why these people, right, came up with these kind of allegations? They might have substantiative reason, right? What can be the reason? We will be discussing. Then here in this page paper itself, we have separate article for that. We will discuss that. See this one. Just at least try to remember this name, Maga Palmer. So she is the first one from Madhya Pradesh to visit to climb Mount Everest. Understood? So again, her story is little inspirational. Why? Because came from a farming community. Second thing, how she gained that strength. So here they mention one point. Initially, how she got that physical strength, just because she used to help her mother. They used to stay in the first floor every day. She used to carry the water. She used to carry water from like from down till to the first floor. Every day she used to carry the water. That's how she gained the strength. Eventually, when she studied in the government college there, right, she was encouraged to participate in some of the sports events. Eventually, her interest towards this Mount Everest, right, got supported by the governments, successive governments of both BJP and Congress of Madhya Pradesh, of earlier Digvijay Singh, later Shivraj Singh Chauhan. They both supported. Eventually, she claimed first time she failed to, she was inch closer, but she couldn't climb completely. But second time she completed. Understood that? So in that context, with respect to women, this is very much important. Though right now she is she joined Congress and giving support to Congress candidate in Delhi, Alka Lamba in Kalkaji. But the most important point is her journey. That's what should inspire us. So next, see this one. This will become a buzz with respect to one nation, one election, simultaneous polls. So there is a lot of buzz, though BJP is very much in favor of it. Its own allies having issues, right? What if there can be midterm elections, right? What kind of, if there happens to be only one election, what will happen to regional issues? So there are issues that are, and again, what about the expenditure? The initial we need to incur a lot of expenditure in terms of purchasing EVMs and VVPATs. With respect to management of forces, if there happens elections at one go, there are issues. Some issues for that the government have the answer, but when it comes to some other issues, there are discussions going on. In that context, as the government is quite interested, it even formed a committee under former President Ramnath Kovind. The committee it submitted its report. Understood. Regarding the feasibilities. So we have to wait and see, just tap the issue. There will be discussions for sure on this. Next, so after this, if you see this, the statement of Rahul Gandhi. Can't lie, Congress lost confidence of Dalits and OBCs after 90s. At least they are realizing now. So this is about Mahakumbh event. Yeah, this is important. Supreme Court eases terms for appointing retired judges to clear High Court's backlog. Here, the most important thing is one thing, as few days back also article came on this. If under Article 224A, right, if the pendings of cases getting increased, High Courts can appoint retired judges as ad hoc judges for a separate, like for a limited time period, for 2 years, 3 years, they can be appointed. In this case, if you see the NAT grid, so National Judicial Data Grid, if you see this National Judicial Data Grid, as of now, how many cases? 62.4 case, 62.2 lakh. Around 60 lakh plus cases are pending in the High Courts. Understood? So this is the data important. So right now, the Supreme Court said that even the number of vacancies, even if it is less than 20% in any High Court, you appoint ad hoc judges and clear the pending cases. So the most important point here for us is Article 224A, right? Number of pendency cases in the High Courts. Who gave the data? National Judicial Data Grid, very much important in the context of mains. In the context of prelims, how it is important? How the ad hoc judges will be appointed? Will be appointed by the President, right? After taking concurrence of the Chief Justice of the High Court, Governor and Chief Minister, finally the file will be going to Chief Justice of India. Finally, from Chief Justice of India, the file will come to President and President will appoint. As simple as that. So that's about it. Just for a revision. See this again, this is important. 1.45 lakh pending contempt of court cases. As you all know, contempt of court means if anyone disrespects, right, the orders passed by judiciary, Supreme Court and High Courts. Okay, what exactly this contempt of court means? We have this Contempt of Court Act 1971. As per this, we have two types of contempt: civil contempt and criminal contempt. Is there any difference? The fundamental difference is, if you fail to obey the order, civil contempt. However, if you try to scandalize the judiciary, that means you are coming up with verbal abuses, you are degrading its position, then that comes under criminal contempt. Criminal contempt is a very serious offence, right? Comparing with civil contempt. Just see here, number of cases pending. Overall 1.45 lakh criminal contempt of court cases pending. Among them, most number of cases are actually against government, because government being the biggest litigant. Even the Law Commission also, if you see here, the Law Commission report I highlighted, it also said that for the courts to discharge its functions without fear and favor, we need this Contempt of Court Act. That's what the Law Commission report also has to say about it. So that's a kind of idea about what exactly this Contempt of Court is all about. Next, with respect to Northeast, just to get an idea, 2016, Manipur government wants to create 7 new districts. The Naga population present over there raised an issue. Now government it took back its decision. Some development in Northeast. See this, collapse of glacial debris caused Sikkim flood. No evidence. As you all know, last year we have seen this glacial lake outburst in Sikkim. In that context, it's not sudden outpour of any heavy rain. Here the challenge was with respect to what you call glacial debris. So that's why when we are planning for any larger dams in this particular eco-sensitive zones, right, because there's Himalayan ecosystem, especially very fragile ecosystem. So there, if you are planning for any developmental activities, we must be careful, because we may face challenges with respect to this glacial debris. Right. Another important one, see here, Chennai sexual assault after FIR leak, journalist phone seized, As you all know, a sexual harassment incident happened in Anna University in Tamil Nadu, right? That created a lot of ruckus. But recently, when FIR was filed, the FIR copy got leaked, because eventually, if the FIR copy getting leaked means what? The details of the victim will be out. So now it is again creating a kind of a kind of challenge there. Why? Because some of the journalists, those who who leaked it, so their phones got chased. But now journalists, the Chennai Press Club's argument here is that it is a kind of putting censorship on them. So it denied. See here, the move is called blatant act of intimidation and attack on journalistic freedom. So that is their opinion. But from the police, their point was that some people leaked, and these were especially to these journalists, and they tried to release it to the public. So that is not fair, because here the victim's privacy is utmost important. So in that context, the issue is happening in Tamil Nadu right now. So that's what we have to observe here. Again, after that, say this, Venki Ramakrishnan, Nobel laureate. So he attended this 5-day Jaipur Lit Fest. As you all know, it is one of the celebrating event that happens in the state of Rajasthan. So here he gave a speech. The crux of the speech, his major point is that you cannot just think of only technocrats. You should not think much of only specialization. Only scientists alone cannot solve the global problems. For that to happen, see here, his major point is, see here, scientists alone cannot make decisions that affects all of us. We cannot leave technocrats, in the words of we cannot just leave it to things to the technocrats. We need humanities, we need literature, we need philosophy, we need history. So in simple terms, that's what he mentions. We need to bridge the gap between science and humanities. We should not just think of only science, logic, right? We should think of art. We should give preference to art. We should try to understand our history. We should try to know about what exact life is all about, right? By listening to the stories of Buddha, Vardhaman Mahavir, right? So the major point, that's what his major point he emphasized here, right? See here, we live in a world that often wants simple and quick solutions, especially in the current situation. Is quite important. We want everything in quick. So within few seconds, we want to get clarity on each and every aspect. So in this context, his words are very much important. You can use this information in when you write any answer with respect to science and technology, or when you write essays. Definitely this information can use, and you can use this person, right? So that's the reason I highlighted it. Next, after that, if you see, this is, as you all know, tragedy at Mahakumbh. Simply we can say, to some extent, the administration failed to manage the crowd. As you all know, as you expected, close to 40 crore population, understood. There should have been some more crowd management things, because you said there will be a lot of utilization of technology. So definitely we utilized all the best aspects. There is no doubt about it. But where they fail, to some extent, the administration failed in monitoring the thing. At least some became lackadaisical, or else it's not, because it's very painful thing, right? Losing 30 people. Understood that. So here we have clear NDMA guidelines with respect to crowd management. When you're planning for the venue, you must understand the size of the venue, what is the inflow and outflow of the crowd. But still, so that's what this article also says. So at least for the upcoming event to happen in a peaceful manner, we should strive for that. Right. So this is with respect to Yamuna, with respect to that Yamuna river. So Shailaja Chandra's major argument here is that definitely right now it's a federal issue. So we have involvement of Delhi, we have involvement of Haryana. There must be an involvement of the union also. Okay. Now these three key stakeholders should work together to solve Yamuna matter. Or else if you just leave it to Haryana and Delhi, then the issue cannot be solved. Why? Because here there must be an involvement of the center in terms of providing technical assistance. Understood? From both sides they have their own reasons. So that's what her main point. That's what she mentioned here. This National Institute of Hydrology underscores the critical importance of maintaining adequate environmental flow in the Yamuna, ensure its ecological health and the well-being of communities that depend on it. But it is unlikely that Haryana and other states will pay heed to unless it is mandated either by the central government after arriving at the consensus or a court of law. Understood? So that means if central governments couldn't mediate, then eventually the case will end up in court of law. It will become part of the water dispute, right? So that's why involvement of the center is important in this context. Next, see this. This is with respect to US Federal Bank. So whenever Federal Bank tries to increase interest rates, it will have its impact on India. What we call this as the Fed tapering. Okay, so if they raises interest rate, the rise and fall of interest rates of Fed Reserve also we should understand here. Understood? Because that will be having its impact on Indian economy, especially directly on Indian stock markets. So there will be outflow of dollars. That can happen. Next, see this is that with respect to the DeepSeek R1 of China and OpenAI. With respect to India, what is the challenge? So here most AI startups in the country and rely on foreign LLMs. LLM means, as you all know, it is one of the important dimension of artificial intelligence, language learning model. So we have to train our AI tool with these GPUs. I think you know the GPU. GPU means graphic processing unit. So with the help of this graphic processing unit, we will be giving this various kinds of models in the form of codes. Understood? It is a kind of making the machine learn. This is what we call as language learning model. So once it learn, eventually and after that, whatever data we seek, it will try to provide us. That's what OpenAI did. That's what DeepSeek R1 did. But when it comes to OpenAI, DeepSeek R1 did at a very lower price. In US, just a few days back, there is an allegation that DeepSeek store, like, it did some violations. It took some data from OpenAI. But that's just an allegation right now. But here with respect to India, where we are lacking, we are just relying on foreign LLMs. We couldn't develop our own. We need to develop our own language learning models, right? So again, here what these people are a bit little optimistic. What they mentioned, when China can come up with low cost DeepSeek R1 artificial intelligence tool, there is a possibility India also can give a try. So that's what the essence of this particular article. So this is just about economy. Indian oil imports reliance, that means, see here, 88% our energy demands, 88% of our energy we are importing. With respect to global India and America relations, with respect to economy, farm and consumer goods, Trump tariff threats and its impact on especially pharma, because we are one of the largest exports of pharma to the world, and consumer goods to US. So this is what we can understand from this. Next is, say, as I said, DeepSeek copy AI OpenAI artificial intelligence technology. There is an allegation, but there is no conclusive evidence as of now. So I think this is, as you know, yesterday there was a collision took place between one aircraft and chopper, and eventually the death of 28 persons. Very tragic thing that happened in US. So it raises concerns with respect to civil aviation safety. See here, the major challenge in USA right now heavily crowded. USA airspace got heavily crowded because of heavy usage of these vehicles, aeroplanes, choppers. That's what mentioned here. Congested airspace shared by civil and military planes. So because of that, the tragic incident happened. Few days back, we have seen that Jeju incident in South Korea. So that's why in this context, as there is a lot of discussion with respect to aviation, it's better to pay some attention to that and get to know about its organizations. We may expect questions on this. Again, see here, NASA's Osiris-Rex. Osiris-Rex is a spacecraft sent by NASA to study this asteroid called as asteroid Bennu. Long back this study, this like this spacecraft was sent. Now this spacecraft, it eventually collected the samples from asteroid Bennu. What's the most interesting thing here is that this asteroid Bennu, it was part of this asteroid belt, but recently it changed, like it somewhat deflected from its position, and this NASA observed it and collected the material from there. From that material, now we found the interesting thing that there might be presence of lakes or oceans in that. So that's why here they mentioned, are we aliens? So that means there was like there's a thing right now. There's a point earlier. There is a word called this Goldilocks zone. Goldilocks means this the Goldilocks zone means the environment where it is feasible to have life. So right now in Earth we have this possibility because of the presence of water. Right. So right now we are also searching for other places where there can be possibility of water. So in this asteroid belt they got these evidences. Right. So as an advanced science we can understand, like we can just type it, because in the context of exam, in the context of like in the coming future where we will be heading to our research in the outer space. So in that context this particular one is important, especially this NASA's Osiris-Rex spacecraft. So it studied this asteroid Bennu and came up with this material. Next, when it comes to China, Chinese, just to have this factual information, just have this one with respect calendars. I think there are two types of calendars: lunar calendar and the solar calendar. Solar calendar means on the basis of the sun's rotation. With respect lunar means on the basis of the moon's rotation. Right? There is a difference. Solar calendar, as you all know, 365 days. When it comes to lunar calendar, we will be having only 354 days we will be getting, because based on this moon's synodic orbit. So on the basis of the moon's rotation here we will be calculating. So that's why earlier this Chinese calendars used to have this completely following the lunar. But the problem with the lunar is, here over a period of time, if you only follow lunar calendar, we will be having season challenges, because seasonal challenges, variations in seasons because of the sun's relationship with Earth's relationship with sun. So here, because of the changing movement here, with respect, as you all know, because of the inclination, the 23.5 degrees inclination of Earth with respect to sun, because of that we are seeing variations in seasons, because of the in-depth variations in receiving the sunlight. So that's why some like what you call over a period of time we started following the solar calendar. Some people now they have mixed both solar plus lunar. That's what we call as the lunisolar. Lunisolar means now there will be combination of both lunar plus solar. So now China also, over a period of time, they also started following this lunisolar calendar. Lunisolar means it's a combination of both lunar calendar plus solar calendar. So as per that, now they are following this. For this year, New Year, they got this snake, year of snake. So according to their what you call mythology, year of snake means those people who will be born in this year, they will born with a lot of deep thinking. They eventually become deep thinkers, strategists. So that's what they believe. See here this one, why Yamuna is in Delhi has high ammonia level. Point number one, this high ammonia level increases when there is dry and winter. That time when there will be a less flow of water. If there is a huge flow of water, it's okay, right? It will take out the excess levels of ammonia. But why these ammonia levels are getting increased? Especially because of the presence of diunit distilleries. So presence of these diunits and distilleries, right, and the sewage water from this Panipat and Sonipat region, along with that, because of less flow of water from the upstream, this is making these increasing levels of ammonia when it comes to Delhi, because the water will be coming from Haryana to Delhi. As the presence of dye units in between, and they are releasing their wastage into the river, that is eventually leading to increasing levels of ammonia. For this, the problem is you need to use huge amount of chlorine, and you should come up with the treatment plants. So that's why here there must be collaboration among Delhi, Haryana and center. Then only this problem of high levels of ammonia can be resolved. Next, after that, as we said, this is with respect crowd management. We have detailed guidelines with respect to how crowd should be managed. Even NDMA has to mention that we have examples of how we used to manage. We have earlier case studies, how we are managing the Sabarimala, Vaishno Devi. Understood. So we have to study that. Eventually, we should understand the inflow, we should understand the outflow, we should understand the venue. Understood. Use technologies. So there is, everything is in place. So effective administration should be the key, so that this kind of stampede events that happened few days back in Prayagraj will not occur. So that is with respect to that. And after that, I think sports. That's it. That's for the day. Thank you.